大家好，我今天的报告是关于 Simcenter Flotherm Flexx 2210的最新功能。我们 Simcenter Flotherm Flexx 包含两个产品 ，Simcenter Flotherm 跟 Simcenter Flotherm XT， 所以呢，报告的议程将包括这两个产品的最新功能。好，首先 Simcenter Flotherm。首先，我们 Flotherm 现在能够为顺态模拟设定微秒时间的 time step。旧版本是使用单精度时间网格，限制了那个小数位数。在这尝试捕获随时间变化的事件时存在限制，例如那个 power cycling。因此，新版本现在是使用双精度，增加了时间输入的小数位数。我们的 DieSmartPad 现在允许重叠日元。我们有一些用户需要从他们的那个芯片的 Layout Tool 导出多个日元，其中一些可能会重叠。在旧版本中，重叠是不允许的，因此他们需要手动去纠正这些重叠，变得非常耗时。在这个版本中，任何重叠都会产生警告，那个 warning， 并且会吐出显示受影响的日元，但工作流程仍然可以继续。在这个版本中 Flotherm 的 UI 的界面有一些改进。如您所知，我们的 Drawing Board 结合了创建和分析的模式，但在操作复杂模型时，依靠 Drawing Board 是不足够的。我们现在有另外一个额外的那个 Viewer， 叫做 Visualization 的 Viewer， 它能显示单独 Drawing Board 视图的那个模型。此窗口可以在第二台那个 monitor 使用。Wireframe 和 Solid View 可以在两个窗口中分别显示，但是任何对象选择都 Project Manager 窗口来相关联。这在显示任何隐藏 parts 时很重要。任何创建的图都将显示在两个窗口中。例如，我们要导入一个模组，需要重新定位。在 Drawing Board 中，我们以 Collapse View 查看模型，但在 Visualization 的窗口显示完整的几何图形。这个模组是从我们的 Library 导入到 Project Manager Window。我们选择了模组，并与参考几何对齐。我们还可以使用这个 Find 那个工具，就是使用那个查找工具功能来过滤掉那个 Drawing Board 中的那个选择。但 Visualization Window 仍然显示完整的那个模型，允许用户正确重新定位。关闭那个滤镜后，用户可以在两个窗口中确认定位。这是一个 demo movie， 展示了那个 Visualization Window 的使用及功能。
Okay, here I have loaded a model, and this is the create mode drawing board view of the model, which is in wireframe. If I switch to the analyze mode, I can see the solid wireframe, all the views as it used to work. To to open the visualization viewer window, there are two ways to do it. One is you click on the icon, or you go to the window menu and launch visualization viewer window. Now, as soon as we launch it, we have associated this window with the flow script. So immediately we get the FlowViz log file created. So that will record all the actions we take in this window. They will be logged, and we can also run them from here. I'll show you how to do that. It's similar to the other windows. Now in this window, so it starts with one pane, and we can see the model in 3D view, irrespective of how it is shown in the drawing board or in the analyze mode. Yeah, okay, and if you look into the menu options, we got the edit menu here, which is for the state, undo, redo. We have removed the other things which are not necessary for this window. Now view, reset, expand, they work exactly the way they used to work. Similarly for the macro, you can record the flow script, which will be called as FlowViz flow script log file. Now all the actions are similar to how we do it for other windows. Now in the viewer, all these options work exactly the way they work in the analyze mode, but independent of the analyze mode. So actions taken in this section will be applied only to this visualization viewer window. Now in the analyze tab, we can save a state here from this window, and we can do the animation. I can load the state and everything. Now the selection linking is, if I select an object here, the selection is passed to the analyze mode, it's passed to the drawing board, and it is passed to the project manager tree. And if I do the same thing here, it is again all through all the windows. So similarly, if I select here in analyze mode, the selection is passed to visualization viewer, so the selection goes through from all windows. Now if I create a plane plot in the visualization viewer window, and I can see the plane plot is synced immediately in the analyze mode, as well as if I open command center, I should be able to see the same thing. So I can see the plane plot created, and if I create another plane plot here, let's move it away, and in the command center, and I can see the same thing is reflected here. The same thing works here in the analyze mode as well. If I create let's say, so if I create a plane plot on this plane, so again in the analyze mode it is created, it is synced. Okay, it's synced to the visualization viewer window, and it is synced to the command center.
好，现在我们讲一讲这个日机械分析。日机械故障一直受到关注，但功率密度的增加正在导致这些故障的普遍性增加。失效有多种形式，封装内部翘曲、焊球应力和开裂，影响耐久性的 般，日机械疲劳只是观察到的一些机制，这些现象必须在设计过程中尽早进行研究，以便进行机械分析。现在可将 Simcenter Flotherm 结果直接导出到 Simcenter 3D。我们可以为稳态或顺态分析导出结果。对于顺态结果，我们必须保存那个 time step 结果。求解模型后，可以选择整个模型或单个 assembly 的那个进行导出。你必须右点这个 assembly， 选 export Simcenter field data， 导出了一个 FLD 的文档。稳态分析只有一组结果。对于顺态分析，用户可以选择要导出的结果，例如导出完整的那个损态，或单独的 time step， 或用户定义的时间段结果。在这个例子中，我们要导出最后10秒的结果，温度结果，从990秒开始。所以我们只需要选择这个 starting from time， 输入那个990秒，这个软体自动会选择从990秒开始的最终 time step 的结果导出来。好，这几张图是显示了典型的那个 HDAP 的 IC 封装。你可以看到 IC 封装内的复杂结构，它包含这个 FOWLP 的那个 substrate， 所以 substrate 顶部上有2个芯片，芯片以损态占空比供电。好，左侧的这张图是一个循环的那个温度结果，右侧的图是应力的结果。所以根据这些数据，我们可以评估不变、疲劳和耐久性。左侧还是刚才所见的那个温度结果，右侧是一个循环的那个变形的结果。好，现在我们讲一讲这个 Flotherm XT 的功能。首先，第一个新功能是那个 solder mask import，solder mask 导入。PCB 上的 solder mask 没有明显的热效应，所以我们通常会忽略这一层。但 solder mask 是会影响机械配合。当我们从那个 EDA 软体转移那个 PCB 概念设计时，这一点是很重要。如果不导入那个 solder mask 层呢， PCB 的厚度会发生变化，导入时会导致几乎形状不匹配。现在将 solder mask 存在的地方 Flotherm XT 的 EDA bridge 将会把它导入。我们目前这个 solder mask import 呢，有2个建模的方式，一个是 simple， 它只包括那个 PCB 的安装孔。如果是选了那个 explicit 的话，它会包括全部的那些孔，还包含这个针孔。IC 封装将连接到那个导体层，就是 conductor layer。导入后，它们会以那个 solder mask 重叠。为了灵活性， PCB 和任何的 thermal territory 将有单独的那个设置。当默认 设置关闭后，用户可以选择是否包括那个 solder mask 层。包括 solder mask 层可以在模型创建阶段节省大量时间。在 XT 的旧版本中，如果选择了那个 Simple 的 option， 我们还可以在导入后手动去创建那个 solder mask。不过，如果是选了那个 Explicit option， 包括那些针孔的话，我们是无法去手动去创建 solder mask。好，这是另外一个 movie 展示那个 solder mask 导入的那个选项。
In this video, we are going to talk about the solder mask import option we have recently introduced. In our world of simulation, we need to import solder mask data to ensure the total board thickness is present for mechanical fit studies and to seamlessly transition from concept PCB models to detailed representation of fully routed PCBs. Now, to import a board along with solder mask, you would simply go to Open and select one of your file formats. ODB++, IPC2581 and CC files can be selected to import the solder mask data. And when you click on Open, this brings in all of the solder mask information along with various other layers. So here, the first thing that you would notice is the solder mask layers added to the layers node in the tree. SMT represents the solder mask top, SMB represents solder mask bottom. You typically have only two layers for each PCB, one on the top and one on the bottom. So that is what is shown over here. The thickness of each of these layers is provided in this properties section along with the dielectric material that is being selected. Solder mask by default have polyamide material that we have defined, and that is taken from the XT library. Now if you go to BagelBone, the main node, and go to the board layer stackup editor, you can see both the solder mask layers defined in this section as well. Here you will be able to change the layer type from solder mask to something else, and the dielectric material from polyamide, you can pick another dielectric material as well. Generally, as I mentioned earlier, there are only two solder mask layers. So if you go on to add a new solder mask layer, it will not let you add another material. Despite of that, if you change one of these layers to solder mask intentionally, the OK would get disabled. So that's how you bring in solder mask layers or add them in your board if it doesn't have two solder masks. And once you're done with that, the next thing that you want to choose is the solder mask modeling level. We have two options, simple and explicit. Simple option models each solder mask layer as an isotropic solid with holes for cutouts, such as mounting holes, defined on the layer in the imported board design. Whereas the explicit option not only models these cutouts, but also pin pads and via pads defined on each of these layers. So that's how you select solder mask modeling level. In addition to that, we also have solder mask definition that can be edited for individual thermal territories. So let me select one of these components and create a thermal territory. Over here, as you can see, thermal territories can further be defined with simple or explicit solder mask modeling level. So that completes all the solder mask definitions in EDA Bridge. The next thing that you would want to do is export your model. And when you click on that transfer assembly icon, it takes you to this model summary. And in this model summary, you have another flag that you need to select for exporting the solder mask data. So transfer solder mask data is by default set to no when you select it to yes and select begin transfer. That's when your solder mask data is passed on to XT. That concludes this quick introduction of solder mask import option.
另外一个新功能是能够轻松的指定所有过孔和引脚的填充材料。XT 新版本会导入那个 VIA 和 PIN 分组信息，它还有一个新的 VIA Editor 的那个窗口，这是允许将不同的材料快速重新分配不同的过孔分组。就像 Solder Mask 导入一样，这新的引脚和过孔填充功能可以节省时间。我们不需要单独选择过孔或引脚一个一个来定义正确的那个材料。在之前的 XT 版本中，我们有这个 Hyperlinks 协同仿真功能。这模拟 PCB 中由于热效应引起的电压降计算。在新版本中，我们可以加快计算速度，我们可以控制计算功率值，并将传输到 Hyperlinks 的频率。在旧版本中，每个 iteration 都会计算和更新那个功率，这会减慢计算时间。关于结果，除了那个日信息，我们可以选择那个显示关于电结果，例如铜线中的那个电流密度。这个例子是显示了那个计算时间减少。我们在这个 Run B 的时候，在每一个20个 iterations 计算一次那个功率，然后20个 iterations， 每20个 iterations 结果在 XT 和 Hyperlinks 之间交换一次。Run A 呢是代表那个旧版本那个 setting， 所以从这个 CPU 时间来看，我们是减少了20%，从1万多秒减少到那个大概8000秒。我们还可以看到关键组件的计算温度几乎是相关的。这是 XT 和 Hyperlinks 协同仿真功能的 movie。
There are some small changes to Smart PCB and some additional solution controls for the Hyperlinks co-simulation. You would import the Smart PCB in the same way as before, using Simcenter Flotherm XT EDA bridge. Upon import of a Smart PCB, you may notice this warning message. The changes that Simcenter Flotherm XT EDA bridge have made to pin and VIA fields cannot yet be used within the Smart PCB calculation. Simcenter Flotherm XT will ignore these settings on import, and the VIA fill material will be defined within the Smart PCB property sheet. In the property sheet, you'll see a read-only display for the total nodes of the Smart PCB. This reads 0 until the layers have been processed, and it's a measure of the complexity of the Smart PCB. You'll notice the value changing as you change the method from fine to averaging, and also adjust the resolution. The setup for a Hyperlinks co-simulation is the same as before. You can find a tutorial on our support site and various videos going through the process on HighSpot. The new co-simulation solve controls can be found under the solution control property sheet. By default, the Hyperlinks solution will be run for every iteration. The new controls allow you to delay the first Hyperlink solve and also adjust the frequency with which it is run. For a steady-state solution, you can easily delay the hyperlink solve until after 10 iterations. The Simcenter Flotherm XT solver solves for the fluid domain first before adding full heat at 10 iterations. We have run solutions in testing with hyperlink solves every 20 or 25 iterations. This cuts the full solution time down without seeming to affect final results. It's likely that this will be model dependent, however. You can further control the solution by defining the maximum number of synchronizations. And you're now also able to create an HTML report in the Hyperlinks project directory containing a DC drop simulation report for each DC drop simulation that the hyperlink solver performed during the co-simulation. During this example, you can see where the initial hyperlinks DC drop calculation influenced the solution at 25 iterations. During and after the solve, messages are reported each time the hyperlink solver starts and finishes. After the solution, you can find the hyperlinks report in the directory you set for the hyperlinks project.
最后的改进是关于 Package Creator。Package Creator 窗口中的菜单和对话框现在可以通过那个 keyboard 来输入。用户界面也有一些改进，例如颜色对比度，这是为了专注一些重要的那个物体。这是最后一部电影，展示了那个 Package Creator 窗口的变化。
It's now possible to use your keyboard to create, edit, and then export a package in Simcenter Flotherm Package Creator. I'll show the general workflow and explain what keys you need to do this. After opening Simcenter Flotherm Package Creator, you're generally faced with this window. With the Package Manager tab highlighted, use the arrow keys or tab to move to the package you want to load. To load the package, you'll need to access the right-click menu. We follow the standard method to do that, using Shift F10 to pop up the menu, then tab or arrow keys to the command you want and hit Enter. You'll notice you can use this method to create 2R models and export. But you might want to create a new package. There's a number of ways to get to the Create New option. Control-Tab will let you switch between the Package Manager and the Create New Package windows. Or you can use Alt or the Command button, depending on your keyboard, which will then allow you to use the highlighted letter to pick the control you want. So Alt-I takes you up to the Package Manager, or Alt-N takes you to a new package. Then use Tab or arrows to move to the package you want to create. If you need to use the drop-down menu, tab across until it's highlighted, then use the arrows to access the different options. Then tab to move back to the package types to the package you want. Use Enter to select and open the wizard. You can tab down the wizard to edit anything, and then onto the next step buttons and use Enter to move forward. And now we have the package and all the property tabs on the left. The top ribbon controls can be accessed using Alt and the relevant letter for the tab, then the letter for the control itself. For example, Alt-B-H will swip to the horizontal split view, then Alt-B-S to go back to the single view. But how can you access the different tabs in the window so you can edit things? Use Control-Tab. Then when holding down Control, use the tab to select what window you want to be active. So I Control-Tab to the package model, then I can tab down to the die properties so that the die properties table is shown below. Then Control-Tab to switch to that property sheet, and then I can tab through the die properties. The entry is highlighted when in focus, so you can edit. Tab again takes you to the drop-down menu, and then you can use the arrow keys to edit. Use Tab to move on. Where you can access further menus, these are highlighted with a green line around them. Tab to move them in focus with showing the green line, and then use Enter to open the window. You can use Tab and Alt-Tab to move around the window, and Escape cancels it. Checkboxes can be tabbed to bring them in focus, and then use the space to select or deselect. The keyboard can still be used in the Graphics tab, but it is more limited. Use Control Tab to access the window, then Tab to move across the controls. The active control is highlighted in green. Use the planes control to change the views. Currently, we cannot use the keyboard to manipulate the view as you would with a mouse. Use the Tab and arrow keys on the right to open the tree branches and Shift F10 to access the right-click menu to hide or set transparency. Once you've finished setting up your package, you can go back to the File tab using Alt-F, press S or A to save your package.
我今天的报告到此结束，谢谢大家。